A mother's love never leaves. Before we learn to speak, before we learn to walk, before we learn to understand the world, we learn love, and that love usually comes from one place: a mother. This is not a story about a perfect life. It is a story about a real mother, and a child who slowly learned what love truly means. The first promise. When Aarohi was born, the room was silent for a moment. Then came a cry. Small, fragile, powerful. Mira held her daughter close for the first time. Her hands trembled, not from fear, but from responsibility. In that moment, Mira made a promise, not spoken aloud, but deeply felt. I will protect you, even when I am tired, even when I am afraid, even when the world is unkind. Aarohi slept peacefully, unaware that someone had just promised her an entire lifetime. Little hands, big sacrifices. Years passed quietly. Aarohi grew. And so did Mira's sacrifices. Mira woke up before sunrise every day. She cooked. She cleaned. She worked. Not because she wanted praise, but because love doesn't ask to be noticed. When Aarohi fell sick, Mira stayed awake all night. When Aarohi cried, Mira forgot her own pain. When Aarohi smiled, Mira felt rich. Sometimes, Mira skipped meals so her daughter wouldn't. Sometimes, she wore old clothes so Aarohi could wear new ones. And she never complained. A mother rarely does. A child doesn't notice love. Children don't notice love when it's always there. Aarohi didn't notice the tired eyes. She didn't notice the aching back. She didn't notice the dreams her mother quietly buried. She noticed rules instead. Why can't I go out late? Why are you always worried? Why don't you understand me? Mira listened silently. She didn't argue. She didn't defend herself. Because a mother knows. One day, the child will understand. The first distance. Teenage years arrived like a storm. Aarohi wanted freedom. Mira wanted safety. Arguments became common. Silence grew longer. One night, Aarohi shouted, "You never understand me." Mira stood quietly. Her heart broke, but her voice stayed calm. "I may not understand everything," she said softly, "but I love you more than you will ever know." Aarohi walked away, angry. Mira stayed behind, worried. That night, Mira prayed, not for herself, but for her child's happiness. Letting go hurts more than holding on. College took Aarohi away from home. Suitcases were packed. Dreams were ready. Mira folded clothes carefully. Each fold carried memories. "Call me when you reach," Mira said. "I will," Aarohi replied, distracted. The house felt empty after she left. Mira sat alone in Aarohi's room, touched the desk, the books, the pillow, and for the first time, she cried loudly. Because loving someone sometimes means learning how to live without them nearby. Love from a distance. Phone calls became shorter. Messages came less often. But Mira's love stayed the same. She waited for calls. She saved voice messages. She smiled when Aarohi's name appeared on the screen. When Aarohi was sick, Mira worried silently. When Arohi was stressed, Mira prayed quietly. A mother's heart travels farther than any phone signal. The day everything changed. One night, Arohi called late. Her voice trembled. "Mom, I failed." Mira didn't ask why. She didn't scold. She said only one thing. "Are you safe?" Arohi cried. "I disappointed you." Mira replied firmly. "No. You are alive. That is enough." In that moment, Arohi felt something she hadn't felt in years. Safety. Realization comes slowly. Life taught Arohi lessons. Failures. Loneliness. Pressure. And slowly, she began to understand. Love wasn't control. Love wasn't rules. Love was her mother staying awake, waiting for a call, praying without being asked. Arohi started calling more often, asking, "Did you eat? Are you resting?" Mira smiled every time. Because love returns, quietly. Role reversal. Years later, Mira grew older. Her steps slowed. Her hands shook. Now Arohi worried. "Don't strain yourself," she said. "Rest more." Mira laughed softly. "You sound like me." Arohi smiled through tears. Now she understood. Love that never ends. One evening, Arohi sat beside her mother. "Mom," she said, "I never thanked you." Mira held her hand. "You don't need to." "But I want to," Arohi insisted. "For every sacrifice, every prayer, every sleepless night." Mira smiled. "A mother's love doesn't expect thanks," she said. "It only hopes you are happy." Final message, for video ending. A mother's love is not loud. It doesn't demand attention. It doesn't ask for return. It waits. It forgives. It stays, even when the world walks away. If your mother is still alive, hug her, call her, sit beside her, because one day you will search for that love and realize it was always home.